Hello there, I'm doing this video under protest. It's the most requested topic on the channel, but I honestly don't care about this stuff, so we're just gonna rush right through it and get it over with. Anyway, today we're looking at which type of creature would be the most powerful on the show. If you enjoy our trips back to Beacon Hills, consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell, and then YouTube will let you know each week when I post new material. Okay, let's once again define what powerful means to me. I still think it's a combination of durability, intelligence, physical strength, and special abilities. So with durability, it's how hard is it to kill? Can you stab it? If you stab it, does it heal? How quickly does it heal? That's durability. For my most powerful character list, an individual's intelligence was a determining factor. But for this list, where I'm looking at creatures not as individuals, but as an entire class, physical strength is more important because most creatures display at least average intelligence. I'm still looking at overall intelligence for the type of creature, and that means some on the show appear to lack individual intelligence altogether. Specifically, the Oni, Berserkers, and the Ghost Riders are either dumb muscle or forces of nature who fulfill a purpose without free will. There were exceptions to this. The Ghost Riders pretending to be the little boy in Canaan and Claudius Talinsky did show signs of individuality and intelligence, but it's unclear if this was them or just the memories of those real people that had been impressed upon them. Overall, though, these henchmen don't count on this list. If I were doing a separate list of just the henchmen, then the Ghost Riders would be the most powerful. Super strength, cool weapons, and a neat little pocket universe where they can stash whoever they're up against means they are the most powerful henchmen. But they're not on this list. So where was I? Oh yeah, the traits that make you powerful. Physical strength. This is going to piss some people off, but if we're talking about creatures on this show, then werewolves are the baseline. All the other creatures are either physically stronger or physically weaker than the werewolves. This means all other creatures will either be more powerful or less powerful than the werewolves on my list. Again, there are exceptions. The Beast in Peter Season 1 were very strong werewolves, but they were both insane. One was killed twice by a sharp stick. The other, at the height of his strength, was brought down by teenagers with flammable liquids. Yeah, so not very durable or intelligent, so they're not good examples of powerful creatures. Anyway, the werewolf is the baseline for strength and overall power. Everything either ranks above or below werewolves. Next, we have special abilities. Controlling natural forces like Jennifer Blake would give you a high ability score. She's not on this list because there was only one Darok and she wasn't a creature in the traditional sense. She's really just a human with special skills. Anyway, if you're a Banshee with a scream that can split a skull, or a no Kitsune who can recreate a full Japanese garden in a high school hallway, you will rate high on my ability scale. What else? What else? Oh yeah, none of this applies to Chimera. They were manufactured creatures, and none of them was ever stable enough to survive on their own, with a couple of exceptions. That would be Theo and Corey. So Chimera don't rate as creatures for my purposes here. Okay, I guess that's the criteria, and here goes the list. The most powerful creatures presented on Teen Wolf were spirit forms. The one that showed off the most potential in all categories is the Nogitsune. It cannot be killed, and it's highly intelligent except for that whole addiction to creating a spectacle and chaos. Get down! It's stronger than a werewolf in at least one scene and has the ability to confuse with illusion and control other beings with houseflies. It is by far the most powerful type of creature on the show. Next is the Hellhound. Again, impossible to kill. A Hellhound will ride a host like Perish until the Perish body is destroyed. It then returns to the wild hunt until it needs to find another host. It's as strong as the strongest werewolves we saw on the show, and it can generate fire and burn through mountain ash. Basically, all the categories the Hellhound spirit form is very powerful. At number 3 is the Kitsune. Again, they ride a host. They're more closely connected than Hellhounds, but the spirit and the person are apparently not the same thing. Now, it would be logical that the spirit would go on existing after the individual dies. Even if that's not the case, they are incredibly long-lived and have a range of abilities from summoning Oni to Kira's lightning generation that managed to trap the wild hunt and almost killed an alpha werewolf. So the spirit forms are the most powerful creatures on Teen Wolf, mainly because they're indestructible and long life gives you a chance to gain a lot of intelligence. But they also come with neat superpowers. They're often saddled with inexperienced or unskilled hosts, but overall, as a class, the spirits win. I'm placing the werejaguar next in line merely because of that magical Aztec temple stuff. Physically, this creature appears to be equal to werewolves, but if you can use ancient magic to de-age somebody and also create berserkers who do your bidding, you've got something under the hood that other creatures can't match. They're not the most powerful because it appears that once you get away from the temple and your bodyguards, you're just another person with fangs and claws, but those main tricks are still impressive. Next comes the Kanima. This is a tough call for me because a pure Kanima is as dumb as a box of rocks. But the fact remains that it cannot be killed by anything we saw thrown at it on the show. The human can die, but once it's in full Kanima form, it's apparently indestructible. Now, it's not smart, like I said, but the combination of venom, tail, and physical strength make it a very powerful creature. Now we get to the werewolves and the were-coyotes. There are differences between individuals, but as species, they are too similar to differentiate. They have a healing factor, so they're durable. Overall, the automatic animal instincts add to their intelligence, and they all get added strength from their animal side. In this universe, they are squarely in the middle on the powerful range. I did a video a while back to explain why the boost one gets from becoming a werewolf is the same for everybody. The only differences in strength or abilities come from the individual. If they were a bodybuilder with lots of years of werewolf experience, they're going to be more powerful than the string bean novice werewolf. I mean, just look at this absolute unit.
I guess negotiations are over.
He is going to tear through a twink like Isaac with barely any effort. But werewolves, on the whole, are all the same. Now we get into creatures that I think are weaker and less powerful than werewolves. Wendigo ranked just below, only due to their inability to control their appetite.
I'm just so hungry!
There's also the fact that a guy with an axe was able to take out a whole family, which, judging by their refrigerator, included 2 very skilled adult Wendigos. And then Deaton was able to overpower one all by himself. Sean got the best of Scott up on the roof, but an individual show of strength doesn't change my thinking that they are weaker than werewolves on the whole. Plus, that whole thing where they need a constant supply of humans to eat is a major weakness for survival and therefore harms durability in this universe. Below Wendigo, we find the Anukatei. I'm struggling a little bit with this one. It seems to be a one-of-a-kind creature. It's the Anukatei, not an Anukatei. But if I don't include it, there'll be complaints, so here it is. I rank it weaker than werewolves for a couple of reasons. Its physicality. Once it finally combined into one creature, it just seemed weak and pitiful. Reinforcing that impression to me is the fact that its two major abilities are both designed to stop any attacker from getting too close. It broadcasts fear and revulsion, which overwhelms most humans and also affects supernaturals. It can also turn other creatures to stone with a purposeful glance. Both of these signal to me that this creature is constantly terrified and wants nothing more than to just hide away. When we're introduced to the Anukatei, it has finally, after more than 100 years, managed to escape the wild hunt and has no body. It's also in two parts, which is a further weakness, or maybe that's a strength if your only desire is to hide. Anyway, the creature can't be truly destroyed, just like the other spirit forms, but it also needs a full body to survive in the world. So, in that way, it's weaker than no Kitsune or Hellhound, who can just retreat into different forms. So yeah, this creature has some bomb abilities, but they're completely defensive, either to keep people away or stop them from attacking. Its ability to project illusion is also designed to scare opponents into leaving it alone. Now, the effect of its defensive abilities on people makes it too dangerous to let it just run around unchecked. But it's really just a scared little skinned weasel thing that wants you to go away. We're now up to Banshee. While I believe their precognitive abilities mean they're naturally more intelligent, they are also often brought to the edge of madness by that power. Yes, their screams can tear down foundations of stone and steel and split a human skull, but the whole thing with being driven mad by your abilities trumps all that. We've seen how high a Banshee can rise with the proper physical and mental training. We've also seen the opposite, a brilliant young woman reduced to a psychotic break by powers she didn't understand. Overall, this knife's edge of sanity that Banshee have to dance on is too unpredictable to rate them higher as a group. Thanks for watching. Now go like the video and spend some time telling me how wrong I am in the comments. There's a subscribe button down there too if you want to join me next week when we go back to Beacon Hills.